It's showtime. You are live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to A Moment with Mike. Is that what we're calling it?
Sure.
Are we on? Is my mic
You're
even
on.
on? I'm on. Check. Awesome. Man, we're excited about this. This is our second one, being live on YouTube, live in the warehouse. These are cool for me. I like being live. I like answering questions. I like bringing value to people in a way that's a little unique. So stay tuned for next month. We'll do it. We'll go live again. But real quick, I want to recap kind of where we're at with win rate. You know, we have 5 coaches now. We threw an incredible sales boot camp this past week, primarily focused on, the virtual, the content, the social, the behavioral selling. So it was kind of like not your typical like in-home sales process development, but it was a lot of, what I would say modern approaches to how consumers are adjusting and growing and how they like to be sold to and handled in the process of the client journey. So we're actually going to be looking at doing a virtual sales boot camp in the first week of May, I believe is what we're looking at. But it's gonna be the same thing. There'll be 4 of us talking, some great topics, some great work. There's an actual workbook that goes along with it. We had about 20 people here this week that flew into town. We were sitting right where I am right now. This was the stage area. They were sitting all out here, and it was really cool to see them come in, get some things, come in, walk away with some real tactical advice that they can now take back into their business and see results. Like it's only been 36 hours since the event. We're already getting messages from attendees about them implementing the things we had talked about and getting really positive, feedback and results from their clients. So that's cool to see. Like as a coach, as somebody who puts out a lot of content, as somebody who really cares about the success of our client base, it's great to see people actually go do the work, right? Like if you're watching this and you've been subscribed to my YouTube channel for a while, like I put out a lot of stuff, but if you don't go do anything with it, it doesn't really bring that much value. It's great. It's cool. I'm blessed that you guys are in the audience and enjoying the content, but ultimately my job is to create an impact. My job is to create change. My job is to put you in a better spot than you are currently. And so seeing the results of that pretty quickly and seeing the attendees already reaching back out, talking about some of the tactical advice we gave, they've implemented and started seeing results already. So stay tuned if you're interested or you're watching this, if you're watching the replay, if you're watching live. I'm probably going to bring it up 4 or 5 times on this just to create awareness for it. But we are going to be doing a virtual sales boot camp. I'm pretty sure May 6th. It'll be like a 1 to 5 Eastern time type time frame. So probably 3 hours or so of education, then an hour of Q&A type stuff. But it was incredible seeing kind of what happened and how people took away from it. So if you're interested, landing page is being created, more information to come. Post a comment in here. Hit me a DMs on Instagram at WinRate Consulting. Shoot me an email if you want, mike@winrateconsulting.com. However, if you're interested in a virtual sales bootcamp for yourself and your team and not having to travel into Charlotte for that information, let me know. We're looking to fill, I think we're going to cap it at 20 people because there is a lot of back and forth and there is a lot of work to be done. So expect there to be a cap at 20. If you want to be one of the first 20 to sign up, shoot me a message. Let's have a conversation about it. But today, we got a question already?
We already got a question. They asked it early before the show started.
Okay.
But you want to answer it before you get going?
Sure. If there's love, we're here for it. It's live. Let's go.
Ryan Kaufman. Hey, Mike, what are your thoughts on in-house employees versus subcontractors? Also, thoughts on employment agreement and agreement. Thanks.
Those are some great questions. I mean, those are great questions. We're definitely going to talk about that today, in somewhat. But so let's break it into 2 sections here. So first question is thoughts on
in-house versus subs.
All right. So my opinion on this is when I was running, I wasn't the owner, but I was helping run the roofing company. We always had a in-house crew, and then we filled in a lot of subs around it. Depending on the size of your company, like we were doing 4 to 5 million at that point. We had dozens of projects going on at a time. So depending on the size of your company, if you are a small company doing 1 or 2 projects at a time, I don't think you need an in-house crew. If you have a lot of like punch lists, or you have a lot of open projects where you need more control of at least 1 crew, in-house can be beneficial. One of the issues with in-house, and I think I see this a lot, I think we've actually talked about this on previous videos, Ryan, is it's very difficult to manage profitability on projects with an in-house crew because you get stuck like not tracking the hours as effectively, and you're paying your guy to go there no matter how many times he's got to go back. When you have a sub in place, when you have a sub set up, you're paying them a fee for that project no matter how long it takes them. So if they have to go back, if they have to revisit, if they have to fix stuff, it doesn't cost you more. So having subs, I think, helps a lot with managing profitability, because you can preset what it's going to cost you to do that project. I think most people struggle with managing employees, managing time, managing just general job costing as a high level overview. And so with the in-house employees, you deal with a lot more risk because you're not tracking their time. You deal with more headaches with like having people show up on time, turnover issues. But I think short answer, it comes down to what you do. But I would say at best, have a blend of both. Do not try to operate solely with an in-house crew. I don't think that'll work. I think having a blend of both or going fully sub, again, depending on what you do, if you're a general contractor or a roofer or even a flooring or paint company, I think paint, you probably need more in-house people, quality control. But if you're a contractor, like a builder, general contractor, like a remodeler, roofer, like I think subs is the right way, because the others, especially as you're growing, if you have like a busy season and a slow season, having subs allows you to mitigate overhead costs in the slow season as well. Like not all companies stay busy 12 months a year. So if you have employees, they're going to want to get paid 12 months a year. And so utilizing subs from that perspective will allow you to mitigate overhead drainage and like really just bleeding yourself out over time if you can't keep them busy. Because I've seen this a lot. Contractors spend so much time just trying to keep their people busy. They have them doing busy, not revenue generating work just to make sure that they get the hours they need. Again, very difficult to contain and maintain profitability that way. So I'd say at best a blend of both, or go the full sub route and just get really good at vetting and searching for and hunting for and setting standards with subs.
The other half of that was thoughts on employment agreement and a sub agreement.
I think it's necessary. I think most business owners suck at articulating expectations and standards. So having a formal document that you can utilize to set those things up. So I use employee contracts. I probably need to get better at subcontracts. I would highly suggest talking to an attorney. A lot of 1099 laws changed with the Biden administration. So I would highly suggest talking to an attorney about that, because you don't want to get caught. There's a lot of rules around 1099, contracted, subs, employees. I think a lot of things changed with the new administration. So I'd highly suggest contacting an employment attorney and making sure that your contracts are in place. But like anytime you can properly document and get buy-in from the other party, they truly and are committing to and understanding the expectations that you set for them. I think it's a big benefit. So I didn't realize you could actually, this just hit me. You can leave a comment before I even go live. Yeah. This is great. You guys should do that next time. I like answering questions. So if you're watching next month, when I post about the link, go ahead and put the questions in early. But yeah, I think as far as employee and subcontracts, absolutely. There's no downside to doing it. There's an extreme downside to not doing it. So I would say I highly suggest. That's one of those that, a little bit of upfront work, talking to an attorney, making sure the verbiage is right, getting all the proper details in there. It takes a little bit of upfront work, but it'll save you a giant pain in the ass headache down the road, because you have those things in place. If nothing else, to hold the other party accountable to the things that you need them to do, whether that's an employee or a sub. Very important, I think, to have those documents in place.
Good. 3 mistakes to avoid when starting a construction company.
All right. So the 3 mistakes to avoid when starting a construction company. I take for granted how dumb some people are when it comes to business. Like, not that you're dumb, it's just like you just don't know what you don't know, right? And we ran into a situation recently with a client that, like, we just didn't even think to ask the question. But first thing, make sure you have an LLC in place. Goes back to that the contracts things. Having an LLC in place allows you to protect yourself. So what is an LLC? I'm not an attorney. I'm not pretending. This is not legal advice. Smart. It's a limited liability company. That's what LLC stands for, I think. Correct? Got it. Yep. Ryan approves. Hey, Ryan was here. That's great news. But from that perspective, it protects you from everything. Like, you mess up, an employee messes up, a customer hates you, any type of lawsuit, any type of mistakes, any type of insurance issues. It creates a separation between your business and your personal life. We see a lot of people who don't do this. let's say, for instance, you don't have an LLC. Let's say you scratch somebody's floor, and let's say you can't afford to fix that floor, and that client ends up suing you. Without an LLC, they can come after all of your personal assets. With an LLC, it protects that from happening. It protects you from having the risk of your personal assets being at risk or having that liability out there. So I would highly, highly suggest having an LLC in place. What does that look like? You can do it online pretty easily. You know, you could hire an attorney. I think it costs on average $750 to $1,000. If you're hiring an attorney, right? Like you go the full attorney route. I mean, if you were going like through legal Zoom or whatever, it's probably like $500.
I want to say TIF charges the filing fee, which is like $225.
So anywhere from like it should cost under $1,000. I've seen people charge $700 to $1,000. I think legal Zoom is probably somewhere in that like $200 to $300. But if you literally go to like how to start an LLC in my state, you can go to the state site and submit the documents on your own. Like it's not that difficult. Some people get overwhelmed by the process, but if you just Google how to start an LLC in South Carolina, like when I Googled how to start a nonprofit, the first step was create an LLC. I literally went to the state's website, you know, business filings, filled out the paperwork, sent it to the right parties, and I had an LLC created in like a week. Not difficult, but that single piece of paper can protect you against massive risk. Second major mistake, do not commingle personal and business finances. Do not take money from clients and put in your personal account. Do not just have it going back and forth. Again, this opens up the doorway. The minute you commingle funds, even with an LLC, if you commingle funds in a single account, it is all considered part of the business and they can come after it. Look, this is all in there in case something goes wrong, right? Like this, we don't assume you're going to screw people. We don't assume you're going to take advantage of situations. We don't assume that you're going to mess up. But if you do, this protects that from impacting your family, your personal life, your personal assets. You know, if you pay your mortgage and your lease out of the same account, don't do that. Like if you have a business lease and a personal mortgage, don't pay those out of the same account. That's where you kind of run into some risk of commingling funds, because once they're commingled, it is impossible to separate those things. And if you get into a legal battle where someone is suing you, they can come after all of it. Third major mistake I see with new companies that are getting started. And you might be an existing company doing these things. Stop right now, like today. Like, don't do that anymore. Stop doing that. It's silly. Stop it. But third thing I see pretty commonly is people tend to heavily, and I don't mean kind of, I think extremely, over-invest before they have their first client. I think I did this. Even Ryan made fun of me. Like I had an office before I had I like my fifth client. I'm like, Ryan, I need an office. Like, how are they gonna take me seriously? And so I spent like almost 10 grand that first year on having an office. It worked. I used it. Clients met me there. But did I need to spend that 10 grand to make the 125 grand in revenue I did? Like my first year as full-time win rate, right? I did like 125 grand in revenue. And I spent like 10 grand on that lease. And that thing was like literally almost an hour from my house. It was uptown. I was trying to be cool. I was trying to be accessible. It was a nice office. If you look at any of my early content where I'm at the desk with like the shelves behind me, that was the first office. It wasn't much bigger than the space we're sitting in between me and Ryan right now. Like this general section we're taking up, that's all it was. But I think a lot of times people try to build out everything they need to represent a company to what they think they need before they go get a client. They spend 10 grand on a website. They spend 100 grand on vehicles and wraps. They spend all this money on key employees. You ain't got shit from a business perspective until you got a customer. So if you're looking to start a business, or you've started a business, or you're in the process of developing a business strategy, I highly suggest going to get customers first. I can't, maybe Ryan, maybe you can correct me here, but I can't think of a single industry, like maybe like a doctor's office, like you'd have to build it out first. But we're looking at home service companies, construction companies, like it doesn't matter what you do. You can operate out of your garage with a pickup truck that you borrowed from a friend and go create revenue.
Even in the health industry, like you could have done like home visits first.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like I guess like a dentist that wouldn't work, but like a chiropractor it would.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need an office to go make money as a chiropractor. You figure that out. Like my chiropractor comes to my house now.
I think the best way to explain it is try not to finance any money.
Yeah, I mean, like don't get into debt before you get your first revenue. You know, like you don't want to start on behind, like with your like behind the eight ball. You don't want to start with your balance off. You want to start profitably. I mean, and ultimately, here's the other side of it that I've seen myself. I think we would all agree with it. Is what you think you need doesn't end up very regularly aligning with what you actually need, right? Because once you start getting customers, you start learning the things that they want. You start learning what you actually need. You start realizing what you're using, what you're not using. And I think I rather learn that as I go and invest as I get revenue, as opposed to investing all that money on the front end and really messing up. So 3 things: get an LLC. If you don't have an LLC, Google it, find an attorney, LegalZoom, somebody. It doesn't cost much money. It will protect you massively. Do not commingle funds between personal and business account. Puts you at a massive risk. And then third, I suggest getting some revenue before over investing into building out what you think your company should look like. Because no matter what you do, no matter how much research you do, no matter how many people you talk to, no matter how much you think you know, more than likely, I'd say 90% of the time, month 12 will look way different than month 1. Month 24 will look different than month 12. You're constantly evolving as a business. So I'd say go get some customers, go make some revenue, go learn your way forward, implement and analyze, and then start investing in your business with capital that you're creating, as opposed to taking on a bunch of debt, financing a bunch of stuff, or even giving up equity. Like, there are times it makes sense. I'm just saying I heavily suggest trying to go create revenue before you start investing a bunch of money.
Questions? Thomas Coogan, he said he did that.
I watched him do that. But he's a great example. Okay, so I don't think did he have some other question, or he just say that? All right. So like Thomas was running a business to the best of his ability before he hired me. He was doing literally everything I just talked about. He did, because he just didn't know any. He was creating revenue and investing and thinking he had to look a certain way. We basically shut that business down, like not bankrupted it and screwed a bunch of people. Like, we just shut it down and rebuilt a new brand. And he invested, I'd say, 1/10 of what he did in his first business and his second business. And his second business is creating significantly more revenue, doing the same work, because we had intentionality behind everything. So if you've done it, if you've made those mistakes, it's okay to pivot. It's okay to course correct, but do not do those 3 things I just talked about, because it will put you at a big risk. And I think that's why a lot of businesses fail in the first, 3 years.
Tiffany, fake it till you make it.
I mean, you sure can. I did. I'm still faking it. Like, this is a green screen. This isn't even a real background. Like,
I can't run back there. And then Michael Reich, realtor, said good stuff. Cool. Appreciate it. Any questions? That's what we want to.
Yeah, we're here for, how many people are on right now? 7?
We had 9 a second.
Perfect. We'll keep going. Let's talk about content real quick.
Sure.
While we're working on this. So I think a lot of people overthink content. The whole purpose of this is to be off the cuff, raw, authentic. And I communicate better than a lot of people online. It's because I'm thousands of fucking videos in. Like, you're not going to be as good as anybody else who's done something 1,000 times in your first 5 attempts. But being consistent, right? Building an audience, building a way to really invest and pour into people. It gives people the opportunity to ask you questions. You get to put yourself in the authority position. Like, maybe it's not YouTube live per se, but you can put it on Facebook. You can put it on Instagram. You can start a YouTube channel. You can do these things really easily. Like, Ryan's very good at what he does, but we've been working together for 3 years. Like, so go find your guy locally, or have Ryan fly out to meet with you, but start creating content, because it's wildly underutilized still, specifically in the contractor space. So highly suggest that you guys are doing that.
Well, then give them a couple pointers. How can they create their content? And people that are scared to get on video, like
people that are scared to get on video. Great.
They don't like their face. Let's get them.
I will say this for the rest of my life. You look the same in person you do online, everybody. So if you don't like the way you look in person, you're not going to like the way you look online. Maybe fix that first. If you're fat and ugly, fix that. Let's start there.
Let's just get ugly.
Just be ugly. Just go all in on it. Don't fight it. Just be fat and ugly. It's cool. I'm going for the fat look right now. It's been awesome. I'm getting way too much. Project Silverback is executing effectively. But that's the point, though. You are the same person in person that you are online. And that allows your audience, particularly your prospects, feel more comfortable hiring you. Because if the first time they see you is at their front door, at their kitchen table, like if that's the first time they're meeting you face to face, or seeing how you communicate and what you say and the way you say it and the way you look and the way you take care of yourself and the way you present yourself, if the first time they're doing that and they have to like understand and review you in person, you're starting behind the 8 ball. Like, I'm going to beat you every time if they know me better. Like, I'm going to beat you every time if they've seen me online ahead of time, because they've already started to build a relationship with me. Like, I'm sure everybody who spends any time on social media has somebody in their audience or somebody that they follow that they feel like they know, right? It happens to me. I meet people all the time at events that like think I know them. It's like, oh, it's me, it's Kevin, you know, from Facebook. And I'm like, bro, like, I got 5,000 friends on Facebook. Do you post? He goes, no, not really. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to know what you look like? If you don't post, how am I supposed to know who you are? And people take that for granted. I think that like you can build an influence just like I have. You can build an audience just like I have. And it doesn't need to be 10,000 people. Like, you probably only need 100 people to know, like, and trust you for you to change the entire face of your business. So putting out content, just documenting. So I don't create content. Like, we create content for a purpose. But if you follow me on Instagram, you know for a fact I put out just generic content on a regular basis about what I'm doing, where I'm at, what I'm struggling with, where I'm winning, where I'm not, what's going on with my family, my fitness, everything. So allow your audience to like learn you ahead of time, way before they meet you in person, because then they feel a lot more comfortable hiring you no matter what it is you sell. The people who are doing this effectively right now are crushing it. The people who are not, you don't know about, because they're not out there and they're not winning. I promise you. And if you're someone right now watching this going, Mike, I'm winning without it, then why the fuck are you watching me? If you don't believe in how this works, if you don't believe in following people online, like, why are you on here watching? Don't. Go do something. But like, clearly it works. If you're seeing this, it's because you know content works. Go be an influencer. Go be a producer of content. Like, I don't really engage in content anymore. I'm a distributor, right? And I don't get high on my own supply. I just put it out there. I let you guys enjoy it, and I stay off of it for the most part.
This is my favorite one. I have two. Hashtag just be ugly for Michael Bridge.
Just go with it. Just go with it. Just go with it. Just be ugly. That's perfect.
Let's see. Can't wait to apply the knowledge. Mad respect to everyone at WinRate. That's from Nick Boyer.
Oh, that dude's awesome. He was at the event this week.
Okay, cool.
Dude, Nick, appreciate you coming in, man. I know that was kind of like unique for you. It's kind of a first time, and then you did. It was cool to meet you, and I'm super excited to see what happens with that.
Trevor Young, how do you overcome objections from GCs that see you as competition because you sell some of the same services to the end consumer?
Okay, wow, that's a great question, Trevor. All right, so are you like, Trevor, if you're watching, are you specifically talking about roofing, or are you talking about the landscaping side? If you can give me more of an example, I'm gonna give you mine. Look, if there's a GC that you're trying to sell to that sells roofing, I'm gonna use a roofer because I know you do some roofing. I used to be roofing. You want to find the GC that wants to do business with you. Let's start there. Like, someone who's saying that they don't want it, or like, hey, I'm good with who we have now. They don't have a need, right? Sales in general is overcoming a problem for a customer. Like, we are problem solvers as salespeople, as business owners. So I would go find more GCs that have a problem. The problem I would really approach them with is capacity concerns. Like, hey, I don't want to be your primary roofer. I want to be the guy you call when like you're over capacity, need to get to some stuff.
So he said, looking to dig pools, but we build outdoor living spaces and the pool builders are intimidated.
Well, just because you're so good looking and good at what you do, Trevor. You can't help it that you can like do 100 push-ups in a row and they can't. Like, I see you. I think Trevor's on like day 60 of 75 hard right now too, but all right, so great point. So you want to use your landscaping company. You want to go to these pool builders. I want to dig a pool for you. I tried this with my grading company. It's not very profitable. So if you can do it profitably, just go find the pool company that's struggling keeping up with their workflow. Because most pool companies right now are booking into 2023. And it's likely because of a lack of subs. So I would present it more like, I'm not trying to replace your pool digging crew. I want you to utilize me as the offload, as like the extra, as the, hey, your existing crew or subs can't get to it, I'll take the scraps. That's how I grew the roofing company. That's how I grew the remodeling company. That's how I grew the grading company. It's like, give me the scraps. Let me show you how much better I am. Let me show you how much better I communicate. But I would say, like, go after people and like sell the problem of, I don't want to be your primary, but I want to stay in front of you. So when you have a need or your current team can't keep up, you call us. But honestly, Trevor, like, I'm not sure digging pools is profitable. So at least it wasn't when we were looking at doing it with EC grading.
You got to think too, like, these guys can't get any more money if they don't have the capacity. So if you can increase their capacity, they can still generate more revenue and profit with your stuff.
And you can even put like an NDA or not an NDA, but a non-compete in place if you wanted to. That says like, hey, I won't sell anything to any of the customers you bring me to for maybe a year. Like I wouldn't do it forever. I'd say like 12 months. Because like ultimately you want that customer to be taken care of, right? And so I would say putting that customer ahead of the needs of everybody is important. So I'd probably potentially put a non-compete in place with that pool builder saying, I won't sell any outdoor living spaces to this customer for the first 12 months post us doing work for you. I think that would be a good way to overcome that objection.
I mean, my dad.
I think that was a great answer, Trevor. High five.
My dad just switched over to handyman. He was asking me how to get business. I said, go find all these GCs around here that are
Overwhelmed, yeah.
2, 4, 6 weeks out and go do some of the stuff they don't want to do.
Yeah. So I'd say start with the scraps, but then like put a non-compete in place and also just let them know like, hey, like you're going to need capacity issues or you're going to have capacity issues. Let me help you offset that.
Yep. No other questions? Nothing.
Just a lot of good things.
Trevor, appreciate it.
Got it. Cool.
But that's it.
All right. So where we at time-wise? We got 4 minutes. They got one more question out there. How many people are watching right now?
10.
Nice. Double digits. Let's go. Everybody started somewhere. At some point, we're going to be like, oh, cool. We're at 1,000. Just watch. Just keep watching.
It's going to be a million.
We're just watching. It's going to be a million.
Next month it'll be a million.
I'm almost at 100,000 on the podcast, though.
Just tell them to subscribe.
Oh, you should subscribe. You fucking
Tell
trolls.
them what you learned.
You're a fucking troll. 90% of my viewers on YouTube are not subscribed to my channel. Okay? I'm disgusted with you. Like, I put out all this content. You can't even take the extra second to click the subscribe button, all 9 of you. Unbelievable. But like, all right, but point being, so I've talked a lot. Me and Ryan have talked a lot. We put out a lot of content around like there are a lot more people watching than engaging. Like you don't realize how big your audience actually is. And the data proves it. If you look at my YouTube statistics, I think it's like 86 or 88% of my viewers are not subscribed to my channel, which means like we had about 18,000 views last month. Like that's a big percentage that's not subscribed. That's like 15,000 people are not subscribed to my channel. So highly suggest that, you guys subscribe, but also understand that there's a big part of your audience that is not engaging.
I feel like you will like this comment. This is from my Instagram when I posted our behind the scenes. That is a huge you MFer. Lord.
I think it's LOL.
No, like Lord.
Oh, Lord.
Even his head looks like it lifts too.
Do I know this person? No. Who said this? She better subscribe. Looks like my head lifts too. You should see my eyebrows. They do curls.
Thank you for your content. Really helps. Alex Ramirez.
Cool.
Your wife asked why you got to be so cute.
Well, that's inappropriate for YouTube. Okay. This channel is for children.
I always click no.
This is explicit for sure. All right, guys. I think that's our time for today. That's a quick 30 minutes. If you have any other questions, just throw them in the comment section. If you're watching this on replay, put replay. If you're watching this live, I should probably do that on the front end. But don't forget, if you're watching right now, we're going to be doing a virtual sales boot camp. I think it's May 6th is the date. We did our in-person one this week, got great results, great feedback. There were a lot of people that couldn't make it in person. So we're going to do a virtual sales boot camp first week of May. I think it's May 6th, Friday, May 6th. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me, shoot me a DM at Winray Consulting on Instagram. Just say sales boot camp. We'll get you the information. Landing page should be out in about a week from today, which is today's April 1st. I'm not sure when you're watching this, but if you're interested in the sales boot camp, shoot me a message.